Upon a time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. Status quo. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live, New York, September 12th, 2019. We are less than 3 hours away from the big Democratic debate, the third debate in Houston, Texas. Status Coup sitting this one out. We were, of course, denied credentials by ABC News, but we also decided not to go because, wish I could tell you more. But working on a pretty big story. A very investigative story. A story that requires a lot of conversations with people who then introduce you to other people that might know information. A story that involves going through a lot of documents, and a story that, how do I say this without giving anything away, might, if done correctly, pose some serious legal issues for very powerful people. I'll leave it at that. So I've been working on that, and Jen is helping me out a little bit with that, and it's a little difficult. You know, I try to do a live stream every day, but I'm at my core, I'm an investigative reporter, and most of my day when I'm investigating something is spent on that. For example, today I had 3 phone conversations. Each one was about a half hour to an hour while taking notes. So for this story, I think that you guys are going to be very, very impressed once the story gets out. And at the moment, there's at least one outlet interested in the story. I haven't reached out to that many outlets because I've been doing additional reporting to get more information. But let's just say it's a story that I've been covering for quite some time. I think you know what the topic is. I won't say, but I think you know the kind of story that I'm talking about. I am the kind of reporter, and Status Coup is the kind of outlet that we do not stop covering a story just because the rest of the media has forgotten. I don't care if the rest of the media has stopped covering it for a year. I don't care if the rest of the media has stopped covering it for 2 to 3 years. I don't care if the rest of the media has stopped covering it for 5 years. Status coup, the coup does not rest until the overthrow is complete. So I'll leave it at that. But I've been very, very busy, very, very busy the last few days working on this story. And today, found out some information that, when you think about, I'm trying to be vague, but when you think about like the top fish of in terms of a corruption scream, when you think about the top fish that you want to bring down, that till now has been impossible. Nobody has found a way to bring this person down. And you get information that is like blinking red lights that might be able to bring him down. Woo! That's exciting. That's exciting. So, let's just say, we'll leave it at that. And all of that is why I just like to keep it real with my audience. I haven't prepared anything for this live stream. I haven't had time to prepare any stories. I haven't had time because I've been doing research and on calls all day on this story that I can't get into details about. So I'm just saying, let's have a free-for-all. Let's talk about the debate. Let's have you ask questions, have you, comments, questions, ideas, whatever. I'm just going to read the super chat, and we'll go from there, because I didn't have any time to do a live stream. But I figured let's be casual, and, you guys can, obviously I appreciate super chats, but you don't have to do a super chat to ask me a question. I'll try to answer whatever questions you got, ideas, whatever. Obviously, super chat is, we appreciate if you want to leave a super chat, but I am winging it, not because I'm lazy, but because I've been reporting all day. And all I got to say is, for some people that were involved in, dare I say, poisoning a community, you better watch your ass. You better watch your ass, because Status Coup is coming for the grass, if you know what I'm saying. So, Evans, this mysterious story must be a hit piece. It's not a hit piece. I got a lot of facts, my friend. Got a lot of facts. So stay tuned. Breadline Bimbo, $1.99 in the Super Chat, getting us started in the Super Chat. Bernie needs to KO Biden tonight. Too early for EW. Boom, boom, boom. We'll get to that in a minute. Reminder, folks, even though we're doing a little casual free-for-all here, remember to like this live stream. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press that thumbs up button, the more people that will see this wild, wild west live stream we're going to do. So, if you're on your phone watching, you press X on the live chat for a second. That will bring you to the thumbs up. Press that thumbs up button, and then you can go back into the live chat, become a Status Coup member. We are currently, that graphic is wrong, we're at 697 members. It's like a seesaw. We keep passing 700, but then we get some cancellations or declines. So we got to keep going. Our goal is 1,000 for the end of this year. And I think when we break this story, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are first learning about Status Coup, because I think this story is going to be big. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to want to sign up for membership. But you can sign up as a member now. That's statuscoup.com/join. statuscoup.com/join. And I also ask you kindly, follow us at Status Coup. We're almost at 10,000 on Twitter. Subscribe to our podcast and join our email list by going to statuscoup.com. You can enter your email. And I don't really mention it much, but if you don't know, of course, I didn't prepare. Hold on. There we go. If you don't know, we also have swag. Go to the Status Coup swag store. All you got to do, go to statuscoup.com, click on store, and get your swag, baby. You could get shirts, hats, pillows, you name it, hoodies. The cold weather's coming. Go to Status Coup store and get your swag. That is another great way for us to earn some revenue to get out in the field. So, before we answer your comments, before we answer your questions, comments, concerns, of course you didn't get a notification. Why would YouTube, or shall I say FewTube, notify anyone when the channels they subscribe to are live? Why do such a thing? Thank you, Joseph Bowen, $2 in the Super Chat. TPP and Iraq War, Biden's record must be revealed. I'm going to get to that. Oh, I totally forgot. Also, let's see what we could do here, folks. If you'd be so kind, we are $248 away. Excuse me, $252 away from hitting that $71,000 mark. So the more people that can donate, I would love to get to 71,000 while we're live. Jen is not in the super chat, so I'll be doing a little bit of both. She's been sick the last few days, but today she's actually helping me out with this investigative thing I told you about. So I told her I need her working on that investigative piece. So I will be doing, Michael's here too, one of our moderators. So Michael, if you don't mind, just dropping the GoFundMe link in the super chat, that would be very, very helpful. You could leave whatever you want. $5 is appreciated. You could do $5, you could do $10, $15, $500, whatever the heck you want. I will read your GoFundMes as we go. So, before we get to your questions, I want all of Jordan's 62.7 to sign a petition to get Jordan press pass for the next debate. Am I the only one who would like to see that? Let me tell you something. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Who said that? Just me. Because let me tell you something. I'm going to keep it real, and no offense to who's like the most non-corporate outlet in the spin room. The spin room is the room after the debates. That's where I was able to challenge Donna Brazile a few years ago. You're not going to see any outlet really challenge any of the campaigns. You're not going to see any outlet, including, frankly, my old one, challenge like Elizabeth Warren's staff after the debate, Kamala Harris's people, Joe Biden's people. They're not going to do a damn thing. So unless outlets like Status Coup, who don't care at all about access to the powerful, who are going in figuratively, guns ablazing, figuratively, not literally, you're not going to get real journalism after these things. So that would be great. So before I get to your questions, comments, concerns, I'll tell you what I think. The media is painting already. The media is already framing this, because this is what the corporate media does. They're framing this as Warren, first Biden, with their little boxing sounds, and it's the Warren, first Biden, blah, 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 kind of forgetting that Bernie Sanders in most polls is in second place. And we have a new Status Coup member. Welcome to the media revolution. What is your name? Hold on. Welcome to the media revolution. New member David just signed up as a Status Coup member. We are now at 698. 698. Sorry, that graph is wrong. 698 members. Welcome, David, as a Status Coup member. Remember, you can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Is real journalism worth $5 to $10 a month? I think so. Sorry, I keep accidentally going to the countdown, so let me just move the countdown away so I don't keep doing that. Statuscoup.com/join, statuscoup.com/join. Thank you, David. So the media is trying to frame this. The media is trying to frame this as Warren versus Biden. And Warren, if she has an amazing moment, Warren could really, rise to the top. I don't think that's really the story of tonight's debate, and I'll tell you why. To me, and I'm not saying this based on what I would like to happen, I'm saying this based on what I think can happen. Status Coup, more than anyone, Status Coup, more than anyone, has covered the reality. Joe Biden is not well. These are not gaffes. There's something going on with him cognitively. I'm a journalist, so I'm not going to be irresponsible and diagnose him with a disease. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's wrong with him. And because I don't like him politically, doesn't mean I wish him bad things to happen. I don't wish poor health on the man. But I have eyes. I've done a little research, and cognitively it's very clear this man is no longer ready for prime time. He doesn't know where he is some of the time. He can't remember names. He can't remember what city he's in. He can't remember cities that just had massive mass shootings within 24 hours of each other. He calls Angela Merkel Margaret Thatcher. He's called Theresa May Margaret Thatcher. He called President Trump Donald Hump. The list goes on and on and on. These are not gaffes. This is somebody who's cognitively declining. I think you have also seen it in the first presidential debate and the second presidential debate. Again, not going to be irresponsible. I'm not a doctor, not diagnosing anyone on the internet, but with our own eyes, we could see what the media fails or refuses to report or even talk about because they're deathly afraid of losing access to Joe Biden's campaign and overall losing access to the club, because the corporate media is all one circle jerk and they don't want to lose access to the club in New York and DC. So, and thank you for the super chat. The Smiths Elvis. Hi, Jordan. Bernie seems to be reaching out to the unions. How big is that voter base if it mobilizes for him? Great work, by the way, a fan from Ireland. Well, beautiful country. Thank you. Unions are super important. Super important. And unions, we're going to get to that because I think Biden, unfortunately, has conned enough people, enough working class people, to think that he's a friend of the unions. I think Bernie tonight has to figuratively knock him in the fucking face on his phony baloney friend of the workers, friend of the unions, which I'm going to get to. Thank you for the super chat. So, to me, the biggest story of this debate tonight is not about Elizabeth Warren, first Biden. To me, the biggest story of this debate tonight is I think this could be the not literal collapse of Joe Biden. I think tonight you could see his campaign collapse and save the tape so that if this happens, I have a little ego boost that I was right. I think if somebody is cognitively struggling, 3 hours is an extremely long time. 3 hours is an extremely long time to be in front of an audience. ABC might have 2 to 3 commercial breaks, but I don't expect more than that. And Joe Biden is not Andrew Yang. When I say that, Joe Biden is going to have more questions asked to him. Joe Biden is going to have to respond to more candidates on the stage who are attacking him. Warren, I think, will go after him. Bernie must go after him. And if Bernie Sanders does not go after Joe Biden aggressively tonight, frankly, even as a personal supporter of Bernie Sanders, if he doesn't bring out the pitchforks against Joe Biden, then he doesn't deserve to be the nominee. Because it's enough with the child's play if you're Bernie Sanders. In the second debate, he was much more aggressive. He was not on stage with Joe Biden. In the first debate, on stage with Joe Biden, right next to him, Bernie Sanders waited an hour and 45 minutes to even say anything about Joe Biden's record, which was on the Iraq War. He needs to go after Biden early. The playing nice is over. I don't think he should attack Warren, which I'll get to in a little bit. I think it's possible the stumbles you've seen of Biden in the first debate and the second debate, I think it's possible that tonight you're going to see more than just a stumble. I think it's possible that with so many people attacking you, with so much time that you have to basically be awake and energetic and sharp cognitively, I think it's possible that Joe Biden is going to have trouble just speaking at certain points. I think it's possible Joe Biden is going to forget his train of thought more than once. And I think it's possible that Joe Biden is going to collapse, not physically, but I think it's possible he's going to have a moment or two that is so uncomfortable to watch, that is so awkward to watch, that is so obvious that something's not right here, folks. I think it's very possible that Joe Biden tonight, the takeaway is his campaign's over. That's, to me, what the headline is, because he's not been on stage with Bernie and Warren at the same time. And I think Bernie's going to go after him, and I think Warren's going to go after him. I even think you might even see people like Julian Castro going after him. You might even see Andrew Yang trying to take some shots at him. These are people that Biden has consistently been in first place, and at a certain point, everybody's got to go after him to knock him down about it. I don't think Joe Biden is going to be able to sustain that. I really don't. David Mazel, 20R. I don't know if that's real. That should be 3 slices of pizza. Enjoy, Jordan. Why, thank you for the pizza. Really appreciate it. And remember, we have 437 people watching. Only 188 of you have pressed that like button. So I need every single one of you to press the like button. It is right under the video. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see the more people that will see the live stream. And obviously, we want people to see the live stream. So, thumbs up right into the video. Smash it. Smash it like it's smashing Joe Biden right in the face tonight. So, to me, the biggest thing is I think Joe Biden is kind of treading water. I think he's struggling with this campaign schedule. I think he's not well cognitively, and I think you might see Joe Biden really collapse in terms of his campaign tonight. I really do. So we'll see. Then, before I get to your questions and comments, I think it's quite possible that Elizabeth Warren is going to be under attack. This is the first time she's on stage with Biden. This is the first time she's on stage with several of the candidates. And frankly, you saw with Kamala Harris going after Biden in the first debate. I think Elizabeth Warren, other candidates, particularly Kamala Harris, are going to see Elizabeth Warren is taking away from my polling. Elizabeth Warren is taking my supporters away, and they're going to go after Elizabeth Warren. And frankly, from what I've seen, Elizabeth Warren doesn't really respond to attacks that well. She gets a little defensive. So just like Kamala Harris looked very wonderful in the first debate when she had that moment against Biden, I think in the second debate, Kamala was on the defense when Tulsi, delivered the knockout blow. And by the way, that's why the DNC screwed her off out of being on the debate stage this time. That's the only reason. They don't want Tulsi Gabbard. I said this yesterday. She's like the political Arya Stark. She's got a political kill list. She knocked Kamala Harris out, and I think if she was on that debate stage today, she might come after Elizabeth Warren next. So that's why the DNC screwed her. She should be on this debate stage. She's polling better in a lot of polls than Beto O'Rourke, who is on the debate stage. But the DNC screws people. So I hope Jordan is using some app to keep track of the super chats. I am keeping track of the super chats. Thank you very much, Vicky S. $2. Stop by UES for Bernie's debate watch party. I will not be at any debate watch parties because, like I said at the beginning of this show, I am working on an investigative piece. So I'm going to be working on that investigative story up until debate time, and then after the debate, I'm not sure yet. I might go live after the debate. If I don't go live, just because I'm in an apartment building, and you can't be so loud at 11 o'clock Eastern time at night. So if I don't go live, I'm going to record some videos that will be posted early next morning. So I think Warren is going to be attacked. I think she might have some good moments against Biden, but it will be very interesting. Elizabeth Warren can get a little testy when she's attacked. Elizabeth Warren can get a little defensive when she's attacked. It'll be interesting to see if I have a plan and I'm so hopeful and I'm very optimistic, how that looks when she's under attack. Lastly, before I take your questions, comments, or concerns, I personally support Bernie Sanders, but to tell you the truth, Bernie Sanders, if he does not go on offense against Joe Biden tonight, and I mean offense, I want him to knock Joe Biden out, figuratively, on NAFTA. I want him to knock Joe Biden out on TPP. I want him to knock Joe Biden out on the bankruptcy bill. I want him to knock Joe Biden out on repealing Glass-Steagall. I want him to knock Joe Biden out on currently hoarding money from Wall Street bankers and lobbyists. I want him to knock Joe Biden's teeth out, figuratively, on basically being a conduit for the oligarchy for the last 30 years. If Bernie Sanders does not do that, if Bernie Sanders, again, frankly, just continues spinning that same disc, the same talking points, the same things, even though we love those talking points, even though we agree, he deserves to lose. Some of you might not like that, but I'm just keeping it real. He deserves to lose because Bernie Sanders, I understand that his political compass tells him that, I don't want to run a dirty campaign and I want to be positive and this and that. Listen, Bernie Sanders, you're up against the biggest political mafia in history. And that is the Democratic Party, the DNC, the Clinton machine, the corporate media. You cannot go to a knife fight holding a spoon anymore. And people, there's a difference between coming off like, kind of petty or coming off angry and just calling people's bullshit out. And it's time to be aggressive because the only way you're going to win the nomination is if you rise. You cannot remain at the same polling number for months and months and months. You have to build your base. Well, the person who has the most overlap with Bernie Sanders the corporate media gets it wrong all the time. It's not Elizabeth Warren. Her base is very different. The person who has the most overlap with Bernie Sanders is Joe Biden. Because the corporate media does not inform anyone of the truth, Joe Biden, and this myth of Joe Biden being middle-class Joe, this myth has hoodwinked many, many people making less than $50,000 a year, many people with just a high school degree. It's hoodwinked them into supporting Joe Biden, thinking he's a friend of the worker, thinking he's a union man, thinking he's middle-class Joe. If Bernie Sanders does what he needs to do and debunks that stuff, and debunks it aggressively and clearly, a lot of those supporters might flee to Bernie Sanders, who actually is a friend of the worker, who is pro-union, who voted against NAFTA, who's against the TPP, who voted against repealing Glass-Steagall, who did not vote to deregulate the entire financial system, who's not, playing footsie with Wall Street bankers night after night at fundraisers. So that, honestly, I'm a fan of Bernie personally, but if he continues to be nice and be positive, and he deserves to lose. Because this is a recurring theme with Bernie Sanders. I've only seen one debate where he's actually been aggressive and gone after people, frankly, and that's the second debate. Unfortunately, it was him fighting with some of the lower tier candidates, and Biden was not on stage with him. He needs to go after Joe Biden tonight. I don't want to see him go after Elizabeth Warren. Let other people do it. Bernie Sanders needs to be above the fray. He can't go after Elizabeth Warren right now. I think later on, as the campaign goes, there's going to be chances and a proper time for Bernie Sanders, I don't think to go after her per se, but to clearly point out their differences. Now is not that time. I think it would look bad if he goes after her. He needs to go after Biden. Those are the voters that he could get. Warren's voters are not the working class. Warren's voters are predominantly making over $50,000 a year, have college degrees and secondary degrees, and older white people. That's Warren's base. So, PJ Coin, 650 euros. Did you expect the field to dwindle down soon? And who will the cop try to prosecute tonight? Thank you for that. There's another super chat. Coppernicus Stinker, $2. Agreed. Bernie needs to come out of the box. No, Bernie needs to do more than come out of the box. Bernie needs to come out of the box fire breathing like the Game of Thrones dragon. I don't want to see him be too aggressive, but I do want to see him knock some people out. So, let me answer your question. PJ Coin, do you expect the field to dwindle soon? And who will the cop try to prosecute tonight? I think after this debate, it is very possible if Beto O'Rourke does not have some life, I think Beto O'Rourke might drop out, because I think Beto O'Rourke is running out of money, frankly. I think some of his campaign manager is a former Obama person. He has a lot of Obama people. I think they don't want, political staffers are essentially like politicians. They're only out for themselves too, and they need to make a living. So I think if Beto O'Rourke fails in this debate or doesn't have some type of moment that rises him in the polls, I think he might drop out and run for the Senate in Texas. And I think if he doesn't drop out, a lot of his campaign people might flee to other campaigns. So I think Beto is the first person I would look out to drop out. I also want to give some love to Joanne Burton. Joanne Burton, thank you very much for the $20 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, thank you very much for the $10 in the GoFundMe. Lawrence Johnson, thank you for the $10 in the GoFundMe. We are now just $212 away from hitting that $71,000 mark. Can we make it happen while I'm live? Let's do it, folks. Here's the GoFundMe link right in the super chat. I think Beto might drop out. I also think, frankly, if Amy Klobuchar does not have a big moment tonight, Amy Klobuchar wants to be considered for vice president, right? Well, the longer you stay in and continue to stick around at 1%, 2%, 3%, the less likely you would be a viable vice presidential option. But if you get out early, if you later endorse, whatever horse you think is going to be, I think she would endorse Joe Biden because he's closer to her as far as being a centrist neoliberal hack. I think, and also she doesn't want to be embarrassed. She's a U.S. senator and she doesn't want to be embarrassed. So I think Amy Klobuchar could also drop out. I don't know. I think Beto would drop out more quickly after this debate if he bombs. I think Klobuchar won't drop out right away, but I think Klobuchar will drop out within a month after this debate if she doesn't have a moment, because A, her money will dry up, B, she doesn't want to be embarrassed as a U.S. senator, and C, she wants to be considered for vice president. And I also think on the dropout scale, lastly, I do think it's possible, less likely, I think it's possible Cory Booker would drop out if he doesn't have a moment. Again, money drying up. I think he's polling fifth in his own state, New Jersey, and he wants to be a viable vice presidential consideration. And the longer you stay in, not polling well, the less likely you would be considered as a vice presidential nominee. So I group Beto, Booker, Harris. Beto, Booker, and Beto, Booker, and Klobuchar, as potential dropouts. I think Castro's going to stay in. I think Harris is going to stay in, even though she should drop out. And the others will stay in too, if that answers your question. And remember, we got 600 people watching. Only 325 of you have pressed that like button. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see the live stream. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. Keep it coming. We need 600 people to press that like button. If you haven't pressed that like button, just slam it. Even if you don't like me, fake it till you make it. I'll take fake likes. So, we got another nice super chat. LD Dubo, $20. What can we expect from the DNC if Bernie takes a commanding lead? Phew, what a question. I think I've said this a long time ago, and for those status quo OGers that remember, I said this a long time ago, so I'm not making it up now. If Bernie Sanders took a commanding lead, I very much think the Democratic Party, and when I say the Democratic Party, I'm throwing CNN in there, MSNBC, the Washington Post, New York Times, I think they would bring out the old, wait a minute, why did Bernie Sanders and Jane honeymoon in Russia? What were they doing in Russia? Who did they meet with in Russia? What was the purpose of their visit? Has Bernie Sanders ever met with anyone from the Communist Party? You might think I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. I think they would go full Russiagate on Bernie Sanders' ass to scare the living hell out of the Democratic establishment and the older voters, that Bernie Sanders will be painted not as a socialist, but as a communist against Donald Trump, and he is suicidal. It is suicidal to make him the nominee. That's what I think they would do. They might try to drudge up some other fake scandal, but I think it's more likely they go the communist angle. And you've heard it before when Bernie was on with Anderson Cooper in 2016. He kind of connected Bernie to Fidel Castro, and why did you make nice comments about Castro? I think they'll go full on communist, and I think Bernie Sanders will have to be prepared for that. But first, listen, that's not a bad problem to have. If Bernie takes a commanding lead, that's fine. Let them do that. He and his campaign can deal with it then. Thanks for the $20. Super Atheist, $5 in the super chat. Why are people for impeachment? Do they not understand it won't pass the Senate? People are for impeachment because Russiagate was the initial distraction. Now they want to distract with impeachment. Of course, when they say, oh, they're only doing it because this is, it's their duty as public servants, oversight, blah, 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 blah. They're not doing it because of that. They want to distract from the issues. They want to distract from the fact that they are bought off. And frankly, there's way, way, way more concrete things to impeach Donald Trump over than the Russian boogeyman. Try the fact that he's still making money from his company and he's making decisions as president to enrich his family and his real estate company. It is blatant. You could impeach him over that. I don't hear them trying to impeach him over that. Try the fact that he illegally, the Supreme Court allowed him to do it, but frankly, he illegally wanted to ban people from this country. I mean, there's so many different things to impeach him. Child separation. So many things, but they want to impeach him over Russia. It's crazy. But yes, I mean, it's not going to pass the Senate. It's political theater. I agree. Reading super chats first. I will read other comments too, but I gotta give love to the people dropping the dollars. Penny Powinski, $2. It should be so easy to destroy Biden. Love you too. It is easy. That's why I think, what is Bernie waiting for? A bus? Knock him out, Bernie. Figuratively. Copernicus Stinker, $2 in the super chat. Amy needs to drop the hell out. Agreed? Yeah. I don't think we're in the whole like eat your broccoli thing is not the current political moment we're in. And Amy Klobuchar, when she pretends that I'm just being real, well, let's be real. You want to be real for a second? I don't know if my girlfriend is watching. If she is, love you, baby. I watched a documentary with my girlfriend about food. Do you know that Amy Klobuchar, as senator, lobbied to make sure that frozen vegetables, frozen pizza, that all that frozen pizza crap that's in your school's cafeterias making your kids fat, she lobbied to keep frozen pizza classified as a vegetable so it could remain in school cafeterias. Why did she do that? Maybe it has to do with some of her donors being in the frozen pizza industry. This is Amy Klobuchar. I mean, she's done a lot of other just run-of-the-mill pay-for-play stuff as a corporate Democrat, but that's the most vile. I mean, when you're looking around at why our kids are so big, go look in their school cafeterias. You got crap in those cafeterias. And I'm a hypocrite because I just had empanadas last night. I'm not exactly, a portrait of health. But Amy Klobuchar lobbied to endanger our kids with this crap in their cafeterias as a vegetable. So right there, it's never come up in the debates because, of course, CNN, MSNBC, they're not journalists, they're puppets. But Amy Klobuchar, there's no movement for Amy Klobuchar, okay? Go back, be middle. What does she say? I'm Midwest tough or nice? I don't care. Gone with you, Amy Klobuchar. Paul says, status quo is authentic field journalism. Please don't get too upset with Jordan's debate commentary. Who's upset? Are people upset by my debate commentary? Oh, people are upset because I said if Bernie doesn't take the gloves off, he deserves to lose. Listen, I'm not going to be a sycophant and a fanboy for Bernie Sanders. When he needs a little tough love, I'm here to give it. If you don't like it, be gone with you. Sorry. I mean, honestly, he's had opportunity after opportunity to go after Joe Biden and in 2016 to go after Hillary Clinton, and he has not. Am I supposed to sit here and be like, yay, Bernie, keep going to a knife fight holding a spoon? No. Sorry. If you don't like it, too bad. $5, Sean King. If Dem convention goes to second ballot with Bernie first, you think establishment would fight voters? Wouldn't that guarantee Trump victory? I know I wouldn't vote. Sean King. Is that Sean King, the Sean King, or I think it's a different Sean King? Sean King. If it went to a second ballot with Bernie having the lead in pledge delegates, not only do I think the establishment would fight Bernie, I think the establishment would lock Bernie Sanders out of the building. I'm joking, but kind of not. Absolutely. This is why when everyone was cheerleading that, superdelegates has been moved to the second ballot, I thought it was a positive thing, but I didn't think it was as important as everybody else thought, because as soon as I saw how many candidates were running, it immediately went to my mind, well, if so many candidates are running, a lot of these states are based on congressional districts. They have weird rules as far as how pledged delegates are allocated. Bernie Sanders could technically win a primary, yet tie in the amount of pledged delegates that are divvied up. For example, Hillary Clinton, even though she technically won the Iowa caucus, she and Bernie got the same amount of pledged delegates. So at the bottom line is, Bernie Sanders could have the most pledged delegates and still not be. If he doesn't have enough pledged delegates, the magic number that is needed, it's essentially anybody's ball game, and they will try to rig it at the convention, of course. Because you have to understand, their main concern, if given a choice between getting rid of Trump and allowing Bernie Sanders to be president, they will keep Trump 100 out of 100 times. 10 out of 10 times, they'll keep Trump. Because not all this talk about Trump is an existential threat, and we need to recapture the soul of America, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. As long as Bernie Sanders wouldn't be the nominee. If Bernie Sanders would be the nominee, they'll say, well, We don't want the money train to end, so we got to stick with, we'll just undermine Bernie. And Trump's terrible, but we'll just have to deal with it. That's what would happen, if that answers your question. What else do we got here? Matthew Rains, $1.99 in the super chat. Thank you. Beth Dunham, Bernie $2. Bernie 2020. Thank you very much. Joseph Bowen, $2. Biden should be in The Hague. Millions dead because of him. That's a strong statement, but not so far out, if you ask me. Thank you. We also just got $10 from Joan. Oh, sorry, I mispronounced. Not Joanne Burton. Thank you, Joan, not Joanne Burton. Another $10. We are now just $202 away. $202 away from hitting $71,000 in the GoFundMe. Thank you for the donations. If we could get that $200 before the debate, I would possibly go streaking. So, let's see what else we got. If Tulsi has the same press coverage as Warren, she would be in first place. If she had the same press coverage as Warren and it was fair, I don't know if she'd be in first place, but I do think she'd be one of the top tier candidates. Absolutely. Let's see. Cyber Clue, $5 in the super chat. Do you think after this third debate and more candidates drop out that Tulsi Gabbard will make the fourth debate, or will the DNC cheat her out of it again? This is tough for me because I don't want to disappoint you. But if I'm keeping it real, I don't think Tulsi Gabbard's going to be in another debate, because I think the fix is in. I think that they saw what she did to Kamala Harris, and Tom Perez's job at the DNC, first job, it's not fundraising. It's to protect the status quo. That's why we are Status Coup. It is to protect the status quo. In protecting the status quo, that means protecting Joe Biden. That means protecting Kamala Harris. That means protecting Mayor Pete. That means, frankly, if given the choice between Warren and Bernie, protecting Warren. He don't want a loose cannon on there that really is running not necessarily to win, because I think Tulsi knows it's a stretch. It's a real mountain to climb to actually win the nomination. I think she's running on principle to get this message out there, to change that Overton window over to the left as far as ending these wars and military regime change and all this. But I think the fix is in because, bottom line, as they suppress her, as the media doesn't cover her, how are people going to learn more for her to go up in the polls? So I think that, and I think they just seem, there's no one watching the DNC. There's nobody ruling over the DNC to actually mandate fair decision making. So the DNC could just make it up as they go along. If they declare Quinnipiac a trustworthy poll for one debate, if Tulsi Gabbard goes up in Quinnipiac, they could then say, well, that's not a trustworthy poll. So I think they're going to keep screwing her. Frankly, I'm not gonna go crazy on him about it, but I'd like to hear some leadership from Bernie Sanders on this. I'd like Bernie to speak out on behalf of Tulsi, because they're doing to her what they did to him in 2016. It's not right. So no, I don't think she's going to be on another debate stage, which is unfortunate. I think she belongs there. She belongs on the debate stage tonight, much more than Beto O'Rourke belongs on that stage, for sure. On Yesha Battle, $2 in the super chat. Maybe BS kills the victor after they eat each other. Man, I should have had Colin make some like Game of Thrones graphics and had Bernie like coming on riding the dragon with fire coming out onto Biden. That would have been nice. So, Bernie or Tulsi or bust. I'm personally a Bernie Nina guy. I want Bernie to pick Nina Turner as his vice president if he gets the nomination. Not that I don't love Tulsi, but I personally would love to see Tulsi Gabbard as Secretary of Defense. I think that would... Can you imagine how scared shitless the entire military-industrial complex would be if Tulsi Gabbard was the Secretary of Defense? Oh my God. John Bolton would have a coronary, which might not be a bad thing. Drump Orange and Cheesy, $9.99 in the super chat. Nelson Mandela visited and praised Fidel Castro soon after leaving prison. Cubans are better off compared to similar Latin American countries despite decades-long U.S. embargo. Bernie has reasons to praise Castro. I agree. And if you study history enough, Castro, the propaganda against Castro is propaganda. Did he do everything well? Was he great on all accounts? No, but he's not what the U.S. has painted him as, that's for sure. So, let's see. Copernicus Thinker, $2. Tulsi should answer tonight's debate questions live. I think so. I think that would be good. By the way, I'm not knocking Tulsi. I think she belongs in that debate. I'm just being honest with you. I think the fix is in, and I don't think they're going to let her on the debate stage again. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. Thank you very much. Just got $50. Jeffrey Barker in the GoFundMe. We are now $152 away. $152 away from hitting that $71,000 mark. And I should tell you, folks, thank you so much, Jeffrey. That's very generous of you. I should tell you, this investigative story that I'm working on, that I talked about in the beginning of this show, why I didn't really have anything prepared today, because I've been working on this story all day and talking to sources and everything. It is going to require us to get back in the field. And I think once we break this story, it's going to be worth every last dollar that's been put into that GoFundMe. Because honestly, this story, if done correctly, is the biggest thing I've ever worked on in my entire career, and that's 15 years. This story, it involves so much corruption that it goes to the very root of what the United Corporations is. I think this story would totally expose how horrific things are done to the most vulnerable people in our society for no other reason than money. And I don't think you would ever see this story broken anywhere else, because most corporate outlets wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. We have, and we are close to breaking a major, major story related. Can't say what it is, but it does involve one of the biggest tragedies / monstrosities that ever happened in America, and a community that's been devastated. I'll leave it at that. Jordan, talk about the new polls today. Which polls? Tell me which polls you want me to talk about. There's a lot of new polls that came out with Bernie in second. I know that. PJ Coin, 10 euros in the super chat. Listen, America, this is a global election. Bernie has to win. He's the only climate change policy that is needed. There's only two candidates that will win, Bernie or Donald. I agree. I want Bernie to win. And I think other than Inslee, I think Bernie has the most serious climate policy that is on the proportion of the threat we're facing as a world. So, and I'm sure that will come up tonight. Anzu Mazaki, $1.99 in the super chat. Thanks, Status Coup, for real news, and good luck, Bernie, tonight. Thank you for watching Real News. We really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You couldn't pay me $1,000 a month to vote for Yang. Mike Sarvis said that. I got a video coming out on Yang. I just interviewed Steve Grumbine of Real Progressives, who is an expert on modern monetary theory. And boy, with all due respect, because I've asked Andrew Yang to come on the show twice, never responded. So I'm not going on like a political jihad against Andrew Yang. I'd love to interview him, but his policies is not what it seems. And I think, although the Yang Gang means well, I think they're being hoodwinked by a libertarian tech bro. I really do. And frankly, as Steve Grumbine will point out, you know what's going to happen if his policy goes in? We'll hand out $1,000 a month to people, $12,000 a year, and guess what? Every single corporation will raise their prices. So the power of that dollar that you've just been handed, the $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, with no price controls, that is key. All you're going to do is have inflation, because nobody's mandated. Corporations, if there's all this more money in people's pockets, you're going to have more demand, which might mean you have less supply. If there's so much more demand for products, well, you have to have enough of that supply to offer it. So I'll post that. It was ready. The video was ready with Steve, but God bless him, my editor Colin, who was working around his full-time job editing for us at night. There was too many curse words in it, so I told him to redo it because I don't want it to get demonetized, because it's an important interview. So we'll have it for you probably tomorrow. Sean King, another $5. How many years would it take a person earning $50,000 per year to make $1 billion? 100 years? 1,000? Try 20,000 years. Bernie should frame $1 billion this way. Sean, what are you doing? Reach out to his campaign. You should be a political advisor. That's a damn good line that he should use. He should borrow it from you. Thank you for the super chat and the good suggestion. So, let's see. We are now 2 hours away. 2 hours away from this debate. And by the way, now you're talking ABC News. So ABC is a broadcast network, whereas CNN and MSNBC, who had the first and second debates, are cable news networks. So if you think CNN and MSNBC were bad, wait till you see the moderators at ABC. The propaganda that's going to be coming out of these moderators tonight, forget it. Forget it. It's going to be unwatchable. Unwatchable. All right. Got a few more minutes of this live stream. Put the GoFundMe link in there one more time. We're at $152. $152 we got left to hit that $71,000 mark. I think we could do it. Who's with me? I think we could do it. $71,000. Going once, going twice. So the last thing I'll say about this debate, if I don't see any more questions, I think somebody, Paul says Charlie LaDuff should contact Jordan, to be honest. Hey, Paul, what makes you think Charlie and I haven't already spoken? Just saying. You think Charlie LaDuff and I have never spoken? I might have been on the phone with Charlie LaDuff right before I came live. Paul. Who I like, by the way. Big fan of Paul. And I'm a huge fan of Charlie LaDuff. He's an actual reporter. He's badass. He investigates. He challenges power. And that's why he's been blackballed by the local and state media in Michigan. Jordan, discuss a contested DNC where Bernie gets 30 to 35% of pledged delegates and Gabbard and Warren give their delegates to Bernie to avoid the 50% superdelegate rule. Nicholas, I'm not sure Elizabeth Warren would give her delegates to Bernie. I'm not sure Elizabeth Warren would. She didn't show up for him in 2016. What makes you think she'd show up in 2020? I'm just saying. Jordan, interview Dave Rubin? Why should I interview Dave Rubin? NBW, status coup. Consider making an email notification system. YouTube is screwing you guys. NBW, we have an email list. Go to statuscoup.com and enter your email. The more people that put in their email, we need to grow our email list anyway. We're not at the point, we don't want to bury people with emails every single day. You're already getting emails from campaigns to ask you to donate and, your work emails or whatever. We don't want to bury people with emails, but we do want you to join our email list. We do send out emails from time to time. But we might go the route of sending text alerts at a certain point. We're not there yet because we don't have the staff for that, but we are probably going to start text alerts within a year or so. But put in your email, statuscoup.com. You'll see a little pop-up. Enter your email. That's another great way for us to grow our audience. Charlie LaDuff. I was actually retyping that another viewer said about LaDuff. Oh, okay, Paul. I didn't mean to attack you. I was just saying I've already talked with him several times. Emma's very pro-Warren. Isn't she? Very interesting, she is. Oh, yeah, this is Univision tonight as well. Univision is part of this debate, I believe. Bernie mentions Tulsi's name to ignite. He gains street cred. Correct. Dump Trump. I agree. 700 watching, but less than 500 likes. Yes, the more people that press the like button, the more people that will see the live stream. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. Got it. Thanks, Jordan. You're welcome. How can the Bernie team attack Biden without alienating his voters who rank Bernie as choice number 2? I'm not worried about Biden, his voters that rank Bernie number 2. We want to get them to switch their number 1 from Bernie to from Biden to Bernie. And the way to do that is to point out to his supporters that Biden is not a friend of the worker. Biden is not a friend of the union man. Biden has been part of the corporate order that has sold your jobs to Mexico and China, that has closed down your factories, that has forced you to work 2 to 3 jobs, who has taken your health care and stomped on you. So don't worry about Biden supporters who rank Bernie second. Bernie has to go after Biden to pull those voters away from Biden, is how I think. Status Coup, do you think Yang is a progressive? What are his shortcomings? No, I do not. Anyone who says we should not raise the minimum wage is engaging in right-wing libertarian talking points. He doesn't believe we should raise the minimum wage, so you're not a progressive. I also don't like, forget his policies for a second. I don't like his temperament. I don't like this defeatist attitude. Oh, automation is inevitable. The robots are coming. Let's get into fetal position. We can't do anything. We're helpless. We're hopeless. Here's $1,000. That is a defeatist attitude. It's not a progressive attitude, and I don't agree with it. Automation is not inevitable. Automation is inevitable if we remain the United Corporations of America, where corporations could do whatever the hell they want. If that is not the case, and we actually have a political leader class that actually protect workers, automation will happen in some areas, and in some areas, automation would be a good thing. In others, it would not. So I don't think he's progressive. I don't think he's like a Paul Ryan Republican either. I think he's a libertarian tech bro. That's what I think. Mention Biden's record and a trip all over his tongue. Anyway, at this point, trip all over his tongue. He might just forget where he is. As I said in the beginning, I don't think he's well, and I think tonight could be the collapse of his entire campaign. I really do think that. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna head out. I gotta do a few things before the debate tonight. During the debate, I'll be live tweeting if you want my thoughts at Jordan Sheridan. I'm sure Status Coup will be tweeting some things as well. I don't know if I'm gonna go live after. I gotta see how things are going. If by like 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, the debate will still be going on. If I feel that the fireworks have already happened and nothing else is gonna happen that's worth watching, I might go live during the debate. I'm not going to be airing the debate. I'm not going to even have it on if I go live because I don't want to get any violations. But I might go live around 10:30 Eastern time if I feel, the debate's essentially over. The next half hour will only be closing statements to give you my thoughts. So come back to the channel around 10:30 Eastern to see if I'm live, and we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. I would love. We didn't quite make it. We didn't quite make it on the GoFundMe, but we got close. So we are now just $152 away. $152 away from hitting that $71,000 mark. And I can't wait to get back in the field. I'm thinking we're interviewing right now to hire a new cameraman or woman, an editor. So once we hire that person, I'll be back in the field. My back's feeling a little better. So all is good. Keep it coming in the GoFundMe if you can, and enjoy the debate. I will see you a little bit later, and I'll be tweeting at Jordan Sheridan. Remember, most people are not lacking compassion to this country or corporation. Most people have no idea, none, what the hell is going on. Peace out.